Hello, everyone, and welcome to TCI of Southern Maine Sports Game of the Week tonight from the Augusta Civic Center. It's Western Maine Class B girls quarterfinal round action as the #1 York Wildcats play the #8 Cape Elizabeth Capers. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Nelson, along with John Martins. Just moments before this quarterfinal is set to begin, we already know who the winner of this game will play. They will play the Redskins of Scarborough High School. They were a 55-43 winner earlier this evening over Mountain Valley. So we know who one of the 4 semifinalists will be, John. Getting back to this game, York obviously heavily favored as the #1 seed. They beat this Cape Elizabeth team just a week and a half ago rather handily, 81-48.
Yeah, I think Cape paid the price of facing York right after York had been beaten by Kennebunk. The York kids have been real focused since that loss. Maybe, in hindsight, the best thing that could have happened to them was losing that basketball game. The kids have refocused, regenerated their energy, and Cape does come in tonight as an 8th seed, as a true 8th seed, a real underdog tonight.
Cape Elizabeth won their preliminary round game. They hosted #9 Lincoln, and they beat the Eagles on Wednesday night to advance to this quarterfinal round game. John, 2 of the big keys tonight, I think, transition game. York got 30 points off the transition in the last meeting between these two teams, and the inside play, particularly of Joanna Brown and Andrea Little.
I know that Cape looks at Andrea Little and Joanna Brown and says, okay, we can't take them both out of the game. Let's choose where we want to cut our losses, and I think we'll see early on that they're going to try to make Joanna Brown work exceptionally hard inside for 2 reasons. One, to keep her from scoring, also to make her work even harder, to maybe take a little edge off her defensive game and to take a little edge off her rebounding ability.
How much will nerves play a factor in this one, John? These York girls have been here. This is their 2nd time in 3 years as a #1 seed in this tournament. Cape Elizabeth, not much experience on this court, didn't make the tournament last year.
That's a good point. Cape traditionally has been a strong team, but this team did not get here last year. I think it's a big benefit for York to have played here before, but you look at York's lineup, I think a big key for them tonight will be to play from the point guard slot. Tiffany Chapman, just a sophomore. She got some experience up here last year, but she's got to show some confidence, and I'm sure she'll look to her seniors for some leadership tonight.
I talked with head coach Rick Clark just moments before the game, and John, he said the play of his seniors will be crucial. He feels they're mentally ready tonight.
No question. As I said before, these kids looked at the Kennebunk loss. They took it rather hard, and now they've refocused and rededicated themselves to the season. I think for this York girls basketball team, anything less than an appearance in the state tournament game, state final, would be something that they wouldn't want to have.
I would think, John, that the first few minutes of this game also very crucial. I talked with Jim Ray, the head coach at Cape Elizabeth. He said his team throughout the year has been slow starting.
I think it's more crucial for Cape Elizabeth than it is with York. I think York is the type of team that can be down a little bit and turn it on and get the focus back. I think Cape Elizabeth has to come out strong. The longer that Cape Elizabeth can stay in this game, the better their chances are. If York comes out strong and takes a big lead, it's lights out right away for the Capers, I think.
Cape Elizabeth, the #8 seed, they come in here with a record of 13-6. York is the #1 seed. They are 17-1. And before we get to tonight's action, let's take a look at the starting lineup tonight for York and also bring you a conversation with head coach Rick Clark. The York Wildcats finished the regular season with a record of 17-1 and are the #1 seed for the 2nd time in 3 years in the upcoming Western Maine tournament. Today, they play the #8 seed Cape Elizabeth Capers, who are 13-6. Let's meet tonight's starting lineup for the Wildcats. At the point guard position is sophomore Tiffany Chapman. During the regular season, she averaged 7 points per game and set a school record with 14 3-point field goals. Starting at the off-guard position will be senior co-captain Jessica Martell, who averaged 4.8 points per game, 2.6 assists, and 2 steals per game. Starting at the center spot is senior Joanna Brown, who led the Wildcats in scoring at 16.5 points, in rebounding at just under 10 rebounds a game, led them in field goal shooting and in free throw shooting. Starting at one of the forward positions is the other captain, senior Andrea Little, who averaged just under 15 points a game, was 2nd in rebounding at 7.6, and led the team in assists and steals per game, and also set the school record for scoring in a career. At the other 4 will be senior Molly McDonald, who during the season averaged 5.5 points per game and just over 6 rebounds. And And some key people off the bench tonight for the Wildcats will be senior Lindsay Playstead, who will be one of the backup guards for the Wildcats tonight. She averaged 2 points per game during the regular season. And another important person off the bench will be sophomore Katie D'Entremont, which will help out the big girls. She averaged 5.1 points per game and 6.1 rebounds. And the head coach of the Wildcats in his 12th season is Rick Clark, who most recently celebrated his 200th win against Greeley to end the regular season. I asked him about that and the upcoming tournament.
Coach, if you could comment first off on your 200th win and what that accomplishment means to you and to this York girls program.
Well, when that happened, you know, it was in the back of my mind that it was closing in on that time period, but really the main importance of the 200 wins is that all the girls that have participated in that over the years. You know, 12 years with the girls, 2 years with the boys prior to that. A lot of good kids have come through and played basketball at York, and they're all part of that. And one of the best parts of the whole night was looking up in the stands and seeing a couple of girls that played for the very first varsity team that I coached, and knowing that they were there to share in that too. It was kind of a fun thing.
What are you most proud of, Rick? You've accomplished so much. You've been in, you know, so many Western Maine championship games, state championship in '92. What means the most to you over all the years?
Well, I think looking at it from the big perspective, the fact that every girl that's played for York High School in the last 12 years has walked onto the floor in Augusta and been part of the tournament experience. So if I can do that for all the girls that come through this program, and we have so far, that to me is what it's all about. You know, getting there at the end of the year and having a part in that. And you know, so far we've been lucky that way.
Yeah, 12 for 12, yeah. Pretty impressive. You're going to play Cape Elizabeth in the quarterfinal round on Friday. This is a team that you've beaten twice already, and rather handily the last week of the season here at home. Should we expect anything different on Friday than what we saw in that 81-48 win?
Well, I think Cape will play better than they played in that game, it being a tournament game, and they're a little better in terms of injuries. They had a couple of injuries in that game. If we play with the same intensity, however, I think that in the long run, they can't stay with us throughout the game. We have more depth, we're a little stronger, we're a little bit quicker. They'd have to be playing a tremendous game, and we'd have to be off a little bit, but it could happen. I mean, we're not going to take them for granted.
The team never likes to lose, Rick, but did the loss to Kennebunk help you a little bit? Have you refocused? You won big the last 2 games of the season.
Right. I think losing to Kennebunk really bothered some of the girls. Maybe we were taking it for granted, although I didn't detect that. I didn't feel that. I felt like we were ready. But we played the game flat. We lost the game. We had a chance to win it at the end. We made some mistakes, and the next practice was an entirely different experience from the previous 2 weeks of practice. They were intense. They worked hard. They wanted to prove again that they were the best team this year in this conference. And of course, they did beat Cape, a real good team, handily, and then kept the intensity against a lesser team, which doesn't always happen. So I'm pleased with the way they bounded back, and I hope that, and I feel that it will continue through however long we stay in the tournament.
Yeah, you've been to so many of these games now. Can you get a feel when the girls come out on the court or the way they practice the week prior to the game, whether it's going to be a good tournament for you?
I think you have 2 reactions. One, the week before the tournament when you're practicing and you get a feel for how the girls are preparing. You don't really want them to be ready to go on Monday, but you want them starting to think about it. By the middle and end of the week, you're hoping that they're mentally getting into the preparation for the game. And if they do, then you feel good. That's step 1. Step 2 is at the game itself. During the warm-ups, are they intense? Are they mentally preparing? Do they look ready to play the game? And once you enter a game in the tournament, and I say this to every girls team we take up there, how you play the first 4 or 5 minutes really is critical for the rest of the game. But it's a kind of a feeling out process. You're on the floor again, you're in front of a large group of people, different experience. And the team that comes out of that, you know, first 4 or 5 minutes the quickest and ready to go is the one that's normally going to carry the day. So if we can get through the first 4 or 5 solid, you know, I think that we're going to have a good game.
Coach, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Well, for the York Wildcats, their 3rd consecutive year finishing the regular season at 17-1, John. This senior group won a state championship 2 years ago. Last go-round for them, you got to think that they really want it.
Yeah, they have to be focused for it. As I said before, it seems like all indications are they're on all cylinders, and I would not be surprised if this team plays for the Western Final.
Okay, should be a good one. Number 1 York and number 8 Cape. John and I will be back with the opening tap on Game of the Week right after this. If you picture yourself as a sports-minded individual, there's only one place you need to go. The Sports Stop, Lower Main Street in Sanford, for the sports-minded individual. Get the picture?
Joanne's Gardens, Route 9 in Wells, is your full-service florist. Joanne's has a large variety of green or blooming houseplants and a dazzling selection of cut flowers. Stop by our new outdoor display area and choose from among the many plants and shrubs that will keep your garden bright and vibrant no matter what the season. For 28 years, the Farley family has provided the personal touch in gift selection or custom flower arrangements for any occasion. Located across from the Maryland Ridge Restaurant on Route 9 in Wells, Joanne's Gardens, where your satisfaction is guaranteed.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Augusta Civic Center as they are ready to start introducing the lineups for both teams, the non-starters, then the starters. Cape Elizabeth in the dark uniforms, the away team being introduced now, and then we'll get the introduction of the non-starters and starters for York High School.
Number 41.
And why don't we go down onto the court now where they will continue with the introductions.
And number 44, Aaron Doherty. For York, 00, Sharon Archer. Number 10, Lindsay Clayster. Number 14, Liza Brown. Number 22, Cindy Herbine. Number 25, Katie Diamond. Number 30, Melissa Gagnon. Your starting lineup, at forward, number 10, 5'6" senior, Pam Stevenson. At forward, number 24, 5'10" senior, Molly McDonald. At forward, number 32, 5'10" senior, Aaron Pond. At forward, number 20, 5'11" senior, Andrea Little. At center, number 43, 5'10" senior, Emily Scott. At center, number 32, 6'1" senior, Jonah Brown. At guard, number 21, 5'6" sophomore, Chris Roberts. At guard, number 12, 5'6" senior, Jessica Martell. At guard, number 23, 5'5" senior, Trissa Sherbrooke. At guard, number 23, 5'3", sophomore, Tiffany Chapman. Coach for Cape is Jim Ray, and the coach for York is Rick Clark.
Okay, that's the introduction of the non-starters and starters for both these teams. Let's take a look graphically at the starters for both ball clubs. For York, Tiffany Chapman and Jessica Martelli are guards. Joanna Brown at the center spot. Andrea Little and Molly McDonald are your forwards. And for Cape Elizabeth, the guards are Chris Roberts and Krista Sarbeck. Your forwards, Pam Stevenson and Erin Pond. And your center there is Emily Scott. We will not have the national anthem with this game. We had it before the first quarterfinal earlier tonight, and to reiterate again, the winner of that game was Scarborough, 55-43 over Mountain Valley. So the winner of this game between Cape Elizabeth and York will face the Redskins on Wednesday, February 23rd at 3:45 p.m. in one of the two girls semifinals in Class B. York in the white uniforms, Cape Elizabeth in the dark uniforms. The officials for tonight's game, Tom Tomchak and Gary Powell, and York controls the tap, and quickly they set up the offense, playing to our basket to your left. Two experienced teams, York with 5 seniors, Cape Elizabeth with 6. McDonald, the first points of the tournament for York.
Molly McDonald.
Penetration inside for Cape, and the game's first foul. Erin Pond on the shot for the Capers. And that foul will be on Molly McDonald.
Number 24, Molly McDonald. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 1.
And that is her first. So we will see Erin Pond, a 5'10" senior, at the free throw line. And she misses both free throws, so York remains in the lead at 2-0. Inside, Little, all alone for 2. Andrea Little. who this year became the all-time leading scorer in girls history for York, passing Angie Suffrage and Elizabeth Sawyer, who played 6-team girl basketball. Little averaging 15 points a game. And Cape Elizabeth with the game's first turnover. York beat Cape Elizabeth back on January 21st at Cape, 55-49, then defeated the Capers at home in York on February 8th, 81-48. Cape Elizabeth back in an active zone, trying to deny the ball to Joanna Brown. That was one of the key points for them coming into this game. She had a big game against them last time, as McDonald is fouled. Minute and a half remaining in this first quarter, 4-0 York. The start for both of these teams, very crucial.
Personal foul number 1, team foul number 1.
Foul on Chris Roberts, her first. Martell, top of the key over to Chapman. Andrea Little misses the shot. Molly McDonald the rebound for York. And a traveling violation, so the Wildcats turn the ball over. This is York's 12th consecutive appearance in the Western Maine tournament here in Augusta. Every team that Brett Clark is coach for the girls has made it here to the Augusta floor. They have been to the Western Maine final 7 times in 11 years and 6 times in the last 8 years. Quite a success story. Left-handed runner missed by the Capers. Pam Stevenson on that shot. McDonald from the baseline. Rebound to Cape. Quickly they push it up the court. Pond missed the layup. And that will be York basketball. 4-0, 5:36 remaining in the first quarter. And again, they're keeping a couple of bodies on Joanna Brown. I don't think she's touched the ball offensively here in the first few minutes until right there. Strong to the hoop, and it rolls in.
Joanna Brown.
Brown with her first basket at 6-0 York, 3 minutes into the game. Martell with the pressure on Chris Roberts. She led Cape with 13 points in the prelim win over Lincoln. This is a decent outside shooting team. Roberts missed the runner. Loose ball picked up by Chapman. York with an early 5-1 rebounding advantage. And the Wildcats with the ball here. Into Brown, quickly double teamed, and she draws the foul. That will go against Emily Scott. That is the second foul against Cape.
Fouls on number 43, Emily Scott. Personal foul.
And we'll see senior Joanna Brown go to the free throw line. Brown leading the Wildcats in scoring and rebounding this year, 16.5 points a game.
Shooting 2, Joanna Brown.
9.7 rebounds a game. And that right there was her 300th point of the season. And that is the second time that Brown has scored 300 points in a season. She gets both. York leads at 8-0 here. 4.5 minutes left first quarter. Scott, nice move back out to the top. Roberts for 3. She hits it, and Cape Elizabeth is on the board.
3 points.
Andrea Little inside for the layup.
Andrea Little.
10-3 York midway through the quarter. And Andrea Little, or is it Jessica Martell? It will be Jessica Martell whistled for the foul. She is one of the co-captains along with Andrea Little.
Fouls on number 12, Jessica Martell.
Second foul on the Wildcats.
Foul number 2.
Scott to put it in play. Kick ball. So John Martins and I talked about the start of this game, and this is not the type of start that Cape Elizabeth wanted. So they trail 10-3. As John mentioned, the start may be a little more important for Cape Elizabeth than it is for York. Roberts, good penetration. Stevenson now with the ball. Underneath to Scott, muscling it in against Brown. Andrea Little the rebound for York. Cross court, Martell. They go to Brown, double teamed. Andrea Little picks it up and lays it in left-handed. Andrea Little with 6 here in the first quarter for the Wildcats as they lead 12-3. Nice head fake and a nice move by Erin Pond.
Erin Pond.
Great move from the free throw line, makes it 12-5 York. McDonald for 2. Molly McDonald's second hoop.
Molly McDonald.
McDonald averaging 5.5 points a game. And Cape Elizabeth with the turnover. We will get a couple of substitutions here with 2:48 remaining in the first quarter. Senior Lindsay Playstead, number 10, will come in for Tiffany Chapman for York. And for Cape Elizabeth, Emily Scott's sister, Katie Scott, number 42, who's coming off an injury into the game. And she grabs the rebound off the Martell miss. So the Scott sisters in the game. Krista Sarbeck from outside. Cape with the offensive rebound. Shot missed. Brown with a rebound for York. Scott practiced for the first time earlier this week, first time in 2 weeks. And we have a blocking foul. That'll go against Emily Scott, her second. Cape is hurt by the fact that sophomore Erin Doherty, a 5'10" sophomore, hurt her ankle severely in the prelim against Lincoln. She was a good player off the bench for them, and she will not be able to help them today. Katie D'Entremont, 5'11" sophomore in for York, and Eliza Brown, a 5'11" junior. Brown number 14, D'Entremont number 25. So Rick Clark going 8 deep in the first quarter. And a foul on Katie Scott.
Fouls on number 42, Katie Scott. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 4.
2:07 left first quarter. D'Entremont missed the quick putback. Sarbeck poked away. They'll keep possession. Stevenson for 3. Second 3 of the game for Cape Elizabeth. 14-8, and York throws the ball away. So the Wildcats had themselves a 9-point lead, and that has been cut to 6, and Cape has the basketball. Man-to-man pressure defense. Good dish underneath. And Shanna Stevens draws the foul. She is into the game for Cape, number 30. She is a 5'7" junior.
Fouls on number 25, Katie D'Entremont. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 3.
Third foul on York. Foul was on D'Entremont. Cape is 0 for 3 from the line. And they are 0 for 4. Sarbeck, big offensive rebound. And then Eliza Brown clears. Sarbeck steals it, and then a foul against Lindsay Playstead. So York has only scored 2 points in the last 2 minutes.
Fouls on number 10, Lindsay Playstead. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 4.
Joanna Brown comes to the scorer's table for York. Scott from just inside the free throw line. Kate Scott with her first basket. Little fouled by Sarbeck. As the team's fifth. John Martins will be joining me at the start of the second quarter, taking care of some newspaper duties on the sideline.
Fouls on number 23.
Brown in for DeEntremont.
Krista Sarbeck. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 5.
Cape extending that defense. Here's Little. Missed the shot. Brown, yes, the putback by Joanna Brown. 35 seconds left, first quarter, 16-10 York. Roberts missing, up ahead to Martell. He's got good speed all the way to the basket. Shot wasn't there. And Cape can cut the lead to 4. Sarbeck tries the long 3 and she misses. 12 seconds left. Down to 6. It'll be hard pressed to get a shot off here. 3 seconds left in the first quarter. Little. Brown, the runner. Gonna get off a decent shot, but the first quarter comes to a close. York led by as many as 9. They take a 6-point lead into the break at the first quarters. We take a look at the Starkey Ford scoreboard. After 1 from the Augusta Civic Center in this quarterfinal round game, it's York 16 and Cape Elizabeth 10.
What are you?
They've been serving the town of York for over 14 years. Come try their great pizza and delicious subs. And also by the Dairy Queen Brazier, 447 Elm Street in Biddeford, featuring the full meal deal. A sandwich, fry, drink, and sundae, all at one low price. And also by Indian of Maine truck caps. For the best prices and selection on Indian of Maine truck caps, go to the manufacturer. Visit the factory outlet, Route 1, south of Biddeford. And also by Jonathan's Restaurant. Jonathan's Restaurant is a new spot for your banquets, weddings, and receptions in Ogunquit. Back at the Civic Center in Augusta, a 6-point lead for York, 16-10 as we start the second quarter. I'm Eric Nelson of TCI of Southern Maine Sports, Channel 12. Be joined by John Martins in just a moment. Cape Elizabeth with the basketball here as we start the second quarter of play. Capers with a chance to cut the lead to 4. Sarbeck traveled. Andrea Little with good defense. And the Wildcats will bring the ball back into play. And now I'm joined by John Martins as Joanna Brown hits the shot.
Joanna Brown.
Well, John, your impression from the first quarter?
I think that York got some benefit by getting some of the younger kids in early in this game to keep some legs fresh and to get them some experience. York has been able to do what they want inside, and that's been a factor.
Katie Scott has played well off the bench. That's her second basket. And it's an 18-12 lead for York. Again, they dump to Brown. Backs her in, uses the glass, but misses. Fast break, Stevenson, and she traveled. Only good opportunity wasted by Cape.
One of the things that I've seen in the 2 tournament games I've seen so far, in the prelim and in this game, traveling has been called like it's going out of style, something that we didn't see in the West this year. Every travel or every near travel is being called to travel here on the Civic Center floor, and the players are going to have to adjust to that.
Cape with the aggressive man-to-man defense. Lob into Andrea Little. Yes, for 2.
Andrea
Little with 8 here in the first half. And York now with an 8-point lead. They scored the game's first 8 points, led 8-0 before a 3-pointer from Cape.
The Cape kids can shoot, there's no question about that. They like the threes, too.
Traveling again, you're right, John. They're calling those violations.
And if you're played down west where it hasn't been called all season long, as I said, you're going to have to adjust to that as a player and be a little bit more careful.
Just over 6 minutes remaining here in the half. And the Cape defense is making York work a little more here in the second quarter. Brown by Scott, the Jordan-esque move, and she traveled.
Didn't look like a travel from here, but wasn't a travel 2 weeks ago in Western Maine, I'll tell you that much.
No, when they played Cape at home a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago actually, the last time these two teams met.
The other thing, in the first game, Eric, the game was called very close, and it seemed like early in this game, too, the referees weren't going to let a lot go.
Sarbeck, oh, an equally nice move at the other end.
Mr. Sarbeck.
And she wears Jordan's number, so you figure with 23 on the shirt, you got to figure 1 or 2 of those a game from her. She's a good player.
That is Sarbeck's first basket. She had 7 against Lincoln in the prelim. Brown in and out. Rebound controlled by Sarbeck. Back at the other end, tough cross-court pass. Long-range shot miss. Good hustle by Tiffany Chapman. And jump ball will go to Cape. Boy, Chris Roberts almost nailed that shot from the wing. 20-14 is our score. York up by 6.
York has not seen a lot of teams play them a lot of man-to-man this season, so it's an adjustment for them.
Brown for 2.
Joanna Brown.
She has 10, John, in the first half.
And that's what the man-to-man does. You get the mismatch with Brown and most anybody in the league down on the block.
Cross court. Sarbeck for 3. Just touched the rim. Jessica Martell the rebound. Too far for Chapman.
York trying to get the transition game going, but Cape has done a pretty good job at stopping that.
That was one of their goals. We mentioned in the pregame, John, that York had 30 of their 71 points, or 30 of their 81 points come from transition the last game.
I think that Cape has to be pretty happy being down 8-0 early in this game. They're still down 8, but they have been much more competitive since that first run.
They've played them even as they continue to trail by 8. This is a team that's won 13 games, so they're a decent ball club. Make a mental error there. Eliza Brown in for York. Molly McDonald, who's had a problem with her feet with some blisters, will not see quite as much action tonight as she has seen during the regular season. Brown again, too hard. But the shot's been there, John, and that's what that man-to-man defense has opened up. Joanna Brown has taken a lot of shots here in the second quarter.
Nice steal by Andrea.
Little to Martell, no. Little the rebound. She'll try it again, and she'll miss. And Cape Elizabeth calling timeout, and we will do the same with 3 minutes and 36 seconds remaining here in the first half. York leads by 8, 22-14.
Babies love being born at York Hospital. All of these babies did. Mothers love it too. At York Hospital, there are no surprises for mother or baby. When you come to the hospital to give birth, there are no strangers taking care of you. No change in shift personnel, people you have never met or seen before. When you have a baby at York Hospital, you're cared for by your nurses, ones who have shared your pregnancy, your delivery, and are there for you after delivery. Your doctor and your nurses, who know you, your concerns, and your desires, will be on hand at this most important time of your life. All of these beautiful babies were born at York Hospital. Why not yours? We invite you to call us and learn more about our unique birthing program, designed to meet the needs and desires of mothers, babies, and the entire family. Why not make York Hospital your hospital? York Hospital, just across the bridge from New Hampshire.
3:36 remaining in the first half of play from the Augusta Civic Center in the quarterfinal round. Eric Nelson with John Martins here on TCI of Southern Maine. The Wildcats lead by 8, 22-14. A momentous occasion for the Wildcats on the road at Greeley. Last regular season game, a 70-35 win, was Coach Rick Clark's 200th victory as a coach at York High School. Of course, that includes 10 wins from his first 2 campaigns as the boys coach, and we talked to him during the pregame about that, and he gave a lot of praise really to the great players who have come through York High School over the past 14 years.
A lot of coaches will give the players the credit because their reward is the longevity that they've had, but you don't get that kind of longevity if you don't do a good job, and Rick Clark is one of the very best at girls basketball coaching that I've seen in this state.
A 288 record coming into this game. Chapman misses a 3. Melissa Gagnon, who's into the game, and does a nice job in tracking it down, but then she loses it. So neither team scoring a lot here. Stevenson from outside, and a foul on Cape Elizabeth. Boy, the last 5 shots from Cape have been all near 3-point range, John.
What happens with them, though, sometimes, Eric, is they'll start hitting the stroke, and they've been known to score points in clumps. Just ask Kennebunk High. Big lead with them. They're down. Cape is down 20. They come back to win the game by virtue of the 3-point bombs.
Almost reminds you of Kentucky LSU from the other night, huh, John? Biggest comeback in NCAA history. Kentucky was down by 31 in the second half and won.
I shut that one off at halftime.
Brown, great move by Joanna Brown. She's got 12, John. She's done a heck of a job.
Well, so much for that game plan, huh? I guess they got to try to work on Andrea Little now.
Stevenson again tries the 3-pointer. The rebound. Oh, good block by Liza Brown underneath.
Joanna Brown lost the handle to the ball, and Shayna Stevens came up with it, but Liza slid over nicely and made the block.
10-point lead for York, 24-14, 2:15 left in the first half.
Good ball movement by York, excellent.
Brown to Brown, and Scott with the rebound for Cape Elizabeth, and she is fouled. Cape doing a little better job rebounding here in the second quarter.
That one goes as a miss, but again, good ball movement from the swinging it side to side, getting it right where you want it, and that's what you want.
First foul on Little, the 5th team foul. Number 11, Elizabeth Roberts, a 5'1" junior, in for Cape Elizabeth. And Jessica Martell back in for York.
Krista Sarbag, one of Cape's top weapons, only 2 points here in the first half, and that's going to be something pleasing to York. Give Andrea a little credit. She's been guiding her all half.
They move it to Scott. She gets the basket. Kate Scott scored 6 off the bench. 24-16 York. Brown again.
Nice pass, nice interior pass to Joanna Brown, who's just cleaning up inside.
14 for Brown. They're just feeding her the ball. 1:15 left in the half. Stevenson, short on the 3. Stevens, the offensive rebound.
Shauna Stevens.
Cape down by 8. Brown's shot is long. They're just backing off of whoever's got that entry pass, John, and just doubling, making a sandwich around Joanna Brown.
And what you do to loosen that up is hit a few outside shots, but they've been having so much success going to Joanna, they still look to do it.
Andrea Little traveled. Teams tied unofficially in turnovers now, John, I believe with 7.
Not bad. We're on the same page here.
Same page.
That's not
That's
bad.
Good. Yeah. 30 seconds left in the half. Coming up at halftime, John and I will have our unofficial halftime statistics for you. And we'll take a look at the rest of the tournament, the matchups coming up in the quarterfinals and potential semifinal round games. Stevens saw Andrea Little, almost had it. She ends up in the lap of assistant coach John Carmichael. From outside, the three-pointer from Chris Roberts.
That's what you have to watch out with Cape. Big emotional lift here. The three-pointer at the buzzer, and they're within 5.
York led by 10, but Cape, thanks to the three-pointer by Roberts, goes on a little 5-point spurt there at the end of the half to cut this to a 5-point game. So we've got a ball game here. As we take a look at the Starkey Ford scoreboard at halftime, it is the York Wildcats leading the Cape Elizabeth Capers 26-21. If you're looking for sales, service, and satisfaction in southern Maine, Starkey Ford, Route 1 in York, has been the place to visit for over 36 years. There's always a good selection of new or used cars and trucks on hand whenever you need safe, dependable transportation. No gimmicks, no tricks, just a great car at a fair price. Sales, service, and satisfaction at Starkey Ford. You can get here from there, just off Route 95 in York, Maine.
Kind of shoulder the burden of both sides of the ball and still play well.
Kind of get a sense that way from what teams are doing.
It's just incredible what Biddeford has done, and I expect them to continue.
In where they play on the schedule, I think they could give teams a battle.
Sportlight, every Wednesday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m. on TCI of Southern Maine, Channel 12.
Today's halftime is being brought to you by the Maine Diner, Route 1 North in Wells. Look for their new fall specials where every Thursday they feature the New England Boiled Dinner. Welcome back to the Civic Center in Augusta. As you can see, the clock high above courtside, 26-21 in favor of York. Eric Nelson along with John Martins, Paul Mannion on camera. And John, let's take a look at our halftime stats.
All right, let's take a look at the York Wildcats first. Field goals, 12 for 28 for 42%. Free throws, 100%, but 2 for 2 from the line. Rebounds, 14, and by my count, 7 offensive rebounds and 7 turnovers for York. Cape, 9 for 22 from the field, but a bunch of three-pointers. That's 41% total. 0 for 6 from the line, so 0% there. 13 rebounds, 4 offensive by my count, and 7 turnovers for the Capers as well.
Okay, so rebounding and turnovers virtually even there for both of these teams. Let's take a look at the scoring summary from the first half. Joanna Brown had a great half for York, 14 points. Andrea Little had 8. Molly McDonald with 4 for York. For Cape Elizabeth, Kate Scott off the bench to score 6. Chris Roberts, a pair of three-pointers, gives her 6 in the first half. And we've also got Pam Stevenson scoring 3 for the Capers. Foul trouble, really, neither team got to the bonus in the first half. Emily Scott has 2 for Cape. Everybody else who picked up a foul in the first half has just 1. So that's the statistical rundown here from the first half of play. And you know, what can you say, John? York was up by 10. It appeared that at a couple of junctures when they are up by 9, they are up by 10 later on. They almost could have pulled this one away, but were unable to do it.
Yeah, it was surprising to me to see that Cape would claw back, but you know, when you have a team that is so good at shooting the outside shot and you get rewarded for 3 points instead of 2 for the outside bomb, obviously they're a team that can climb back. One of the things that surprises me is Krista Sarback is basically Cape's best scorer, best shooter. She's got only 2 points in the first half, and they're only down 5. That's interesting.
Let's take a look at the tournament and how things shape up as the 2 prelim games that were played on Wednesday. Cape, of course, a 9-point winner over number 9 Lincoln, 46-37. Wyndham, the number 7 seed, was a 34-29 winner over number 10 Gray New Gloucester. And the quarterfinal matchups, of course, this game, Cape versus York. One game already played. Scarborough beat Mountain Valley 55-43. Scarborough will play the winner of this game.
The other quarterfinals, which will take place on Monday, February 21st, number 6 Marshwood against number 3 Kennebunk, a couple of York County teams there. Number 7 Wyndham against number 2 Erskine, the undefeated Eagles. And those winners of those two games will meet in the semifinals. The girls' semis Wednesday afternoon, starting at 2 o'clock. York, if they win, will play at 3:45. So that's how the tournament rundown looks, and we've got to take a break. Come back with the second half of play in just a minute. York leads at halftime here, 26-21.
Do you enjoy playing sports in your leisure time? If you do, you don't want to be laid up. So if a recreational sports injury has put you on the sideline, contact the professionals at the Merrill Clinic of Chiropractic, Route 1 in Wells. They possess state-of-the-art testing equipment to diagnose your injury and the proper form of treatment. Chiropractic heals the body without the use of drugs, medication, or surgery. Stay off the disabled list by visiting the folks at Merrill Clinic of Chiropractic, Route 1 in Wells, the first step on your road to recovery.
Dave's IGA, York Village Shopping Center in York, is hometown proud. Proud to be serving their friends and neighbors the most delicious selection of fresh food items available. And to make sure you're getting the best value for your dollar, pick up Dave's IGA Super Savings Circular. The circular is available at the store every Monday morning and can be found in the York Weekly. So stop by Dave's IGA for all the great specials you've come to expect. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Dave's IGA, hometown proud.
We're set to start the second half of play. I'd like to thank the Maine Diner for sponsoring our halftime show here on Game of the Week. Cape Elizabeth with the basketball to start the second half of play. It'll be the Scott sisters along with Stevenson, Sarbeck, and Roberts in for Cape Elizabeth. And it's the starting 5 for York. As York quickly on the break, Tiffany Chapman, Joanna Brown follows, third chance, tried a fourth time, and it's good.
Joanna Brown.
Really hard work in there by Joanna Brown. She bowled her way to the first rebound. Now York showing some pressure, 2-2-1 pressure here.
For York, it's a starting 5. Chapman, Martell, Little, McDonald, and Brown. Kate Scott.
Katie Scott.
Question whether she would even play tonight, John. She's played well.
She's played very well. Nice little jump shot there. Good touch.
McDonald, nice move. She draws the foul. That will be the second foul on Kate Scott.
Also number 42.
Both teams trying to intensify the defense early here in the third quarter. Obviously, they feel that this is a key juncture in the game.
Cape in the man-to-man.
York a little bit flat-footed here, moving to the ball. Now they got it to Joanna.
Start to run the set again. Martell from way outside. Andrea Little, the offensive rebound.
Nice catch and shot from Andrea Little. She kind of did it almost in a quick layup motion after catching the ball, and York extends it to 7, and Joanna Brown with the big steal.
York applying the pressure, and it's picked up by Sarbeck as Cape Elizabeth gets it back. Other end, Scott off the backboard.
Scott.
Keeps it a 5-point lead, 30-25. Little clear it out on that side. Loose ball. Goes to Cape, and they've got a chance to cut this one to 3.
As we had said earlier in this game, the longer that you let a team like Cape hang around, the more likely that they can sting you. And York has not shown a ton of pressure yet.
Scott can't get it past Little. Oh, and they just keep it alive, and we've got a foul against York. That is the second foul against Jessica Martell.
Number 12, Jessica Martell. Personal foul number 2, team foul number 1.
Oh, Little to steal. Andrea Little with the quick hands.
You know, you can usually find the other team's best player by finding Andrea Little. She always guards their best player.
Oh, Molly McDonald has hit a couple of baskets from outside tonight.
Molly McDonald.
That's why you see Andrea Little right on Krista Sarback. Not in the press set, but in the man-to-man set, you will.
Long cross-court pass. Stevenson for 2. Emily Scott the rebound, and she draws the foul. Second foul against Molly McDonald.
Cape's rebounding, at least early in this quarter, has been pretty solid. And they've, I think if you told them at halftime they'd be within 1 rebound of York, they would take that right away.
Cape has been shut out from the free throw line tonight. Their first basket from the stripe. This is a kind of a doubleheader night for Cape. The boys, number 1 seeded boys, will host Kennebunk later this evening after this game. So a lot of Cape fans here to see both of those contests, and foul on Andrea Little. New York is really allowing Cape to stay in this game, John.
Foul number 20, Andrea Little. Personal foul number 2, team foul number 3.
Cape is doing a good job for scrapping for the rebounds, though. Pam Stevenson getting in there, getting that one.
Cape will keep the ball. 4:57 left in the third. 6-point York lead.
I'm sure that Cape would like to run a set play here for Sarbeck for a 3-point attempt. That would really sink York's hopes if they could get a 3. Kind of bring the momentum to Cape Elizabeth.
Sarbeck's starting to handle the ball a lot more here in the second half. It seemed like Roberts handled it a little more in the first half. The runner off the back of the rim. Strong rebound by Molly McDonald. Dishes to Brown off the glass.
Joanna Brown.
18 for Joanna Brown. Scott goes cross court. Stevenson not afraid to shoot. Draws the foul. Just the first against Joanna Brown.
It appeared that she may have traveled on the up fake, but they didn't call it.
She really almost tried to create the contact, almost, John.
At the line shooting 2, Pam Stevenson.
Stevenson at the line. And it is a 6-point ball game. 34-28. Martell draws the foul.
You see Sarbeck keeping the ball out of Tiffany Chapman's hand, the normal York point guard, and Jess Martell had to take over that role. She played it a lot last year.
Foul number 10, Pam Stevenson. Personal foul number 1, team foul number 2.
Molly McDonald with another big J for York. She is 4 for 4 from the field right now. 8 points. She's played a nice game.
Long pass by Sarbeck. Stevenson. Oof. Almost an incredible play. She get around Joanna Brown. York can push the lead to 10 here. Little, too strong. And they're calling it tight. Molly McDonald over the back.
I believe that might be her third as well.
That's what I have, John.
Number 24, Molly McDonald. Personal foul number 3.
York really has not been able to get a transition game tonight at all, Eric. That was one of the few times that they've gotten the ball up the floor and in a position to attack. They just have not been able to run tonight.
Lindsay placed it in for Tiffany Chapman.
There's the press again from York.
Roberts, right to Andrea Little.
Nice read there by Andrea.
York running the court. Little, boy, placed at a big rebound, and she gets fouled. Boy, that's so crucial on the break, John, is to have those backup people and have that support on the boards.
Just go right to the glass.
Foul number 3, team foul number 3.
You know, when Andrea has it in that position that she's going to be able to get it to the backboard, you better be in there in case she misses.
Plaisted doing a good job trailing that fast break. So again, York can go up by 10 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. McDonald picks up the 4th foul on Katie Scott, and that is a big, big foul. And Jim Ray is short of big people with Aaron Doherty being injured.
42, Katie Scott, personal foul number 4, team foul.
And she comes out. Shanna Stevens will go into the game. Little to Martell, beautiful inbound play.
How many times have we seen York work that particular inbounds play over the course of our years doing games? They run it very well.
That's the first non-Little, McDonald, or Brown basket in this game as the Wildcats steal the ball. Martell gets the bounce. 2 quick hoops by Jessica Martell, and this is a 12-point York lead as Cape Elizabeth calls timeout, John, with 2:41 left. 40-28 in favor of the Wildcats, and maybe that's a little impetus that they needed in this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, the key play coming there in transition, they got to run a little bit. In the last minute or so, York has had a couple chances to run the floor, and I think what we see there is that this team likes to run. If they get the chance to run, they'll do it. And you know, other than that, you look at the offense, you say that Martell was the first one to break that string. They'd been going inside to Joanna Brown real effectively, and Molly McDonald had been hitting baby jumpers from near the inside, so they know where they wanted to attack.
Hope you're enjoying TCI of Southern Maine's coverage of the Western Maine Class B tournament from the Civic Center in Augusta. This will be our first and only telecast here from the Civic Center. MPBN, the Maine Public Broadcasting Network, has exclusive rights to the semifinals and finals in Western Maine classes B, C, and D. So, folks, we are shut out, unfortunately, in the remainder of this tournament. That's the life of cable, I guess. And MPBN, with the exclusive rights, we will be rebroadcasting MPBN's telecast later in the spring. So be watching your community bulletin board, Channel 12, to find out when those games will be shown. Sarbeck drawing the foul. So what we've got is MPBN doing the games. We'll tape them off the air and then show them for you at a later date.
And for you people who can't wait that long, you can also read full tournament coverage of the York girls basketball team and others.
In what newspaper now?
And other Southern York County teams in the York County Co-Star. Nice smooth segue there, huh, Eric?
Yeah. One of the bennies of the job, huh, John?
Got to get those plugs in whenever I can. I don't get the chance to do that too often. So
Wednesday afternoon, hot off the press.
You got it.
Sarbeck makes 1, and it's an 11-point York lead. But we will be here, by the way, supplementing MPBN's coverage with some pregame interviews and some postgame interviews of our own coming up in the tournament as far as York should advance. Nice play by Sarbeck. It's one of those things, you know, you'd like to work the game, but it'll also be enjoyable to sit back and relax and watch it too, and to cheer on the Wildcats.
It's funny, you know, I've been coming up here for the newspaper for the last 7 years, and last year was the first time that I actually sat down and watched 2 games that I didn't have to cover. I don't think I enjoyed 2 games quite as much as I enjoyed those 2. Just sitting back, relaxing, watching some good high school basketball.
Eliza Brown, short. Rebound taken away by Stevens. 1:45 left in the quarter. Nice move. Stevenson lays it in and picks up the foul.
And Stevenson.
Well, it appears right now that York has been in the position to deliver the knockout blow, but Cape's come off the ropes and they've come back out slugging. They can cut it back to 8 with 1:40 left. Stevenson looks like a player that likes the offensive side of the game. She goes to the basket very well, has a nice jump shot.
8 for Pam Stevenson. And it's an 8-point York lead. Cape has chopped 4 points off the lead since the timeout. D'Entremont is fouled. And that is the 3rd against Emily Scott. So the Scott sisters have picked up 7 fouls in this game, John.
Foul number 43, Emily Scott. Personal foul number 3.
I'm not sure, but by my book, I don't think there are very many other Cape fouls. I think maybe only one, Pam Stevenson. The only other team foul, perhaps?
In this half is the only other team foul, yes. So 17 fouls for York, 5 for Cape. They have 1 more to waste. Traveling. Now again, Jim Ray calling a good timeout for Cape because York was on the verge of putting this one away. And Cape has crawled back in.
I'm impressed with how Cape has played tonight. You know, you get it handed to you by this team by how many points? 30 or 35 the last time you met with just a week ago, and come back here and be pretty competitive.
I think Tiffany Chapman tied that one up with her foot.
Nice play.
Good double team by York, and the possession arrow to the Wildcats. They can go back up by 10.
Tough matchup for Chapman being guarded by Krista Sarbeck.
Little. Too much for D'Entremont. Here's Sarbeck. Draws the foul on Chapman.
Good foul there by Tiffany Chapman. Don't want to give somebody an uncontested layup.
That was Chapman's first.
Fouls on number 23, Tiffany Chapman. Personal foul number 1.
Sarbeck, I believe, early acceptance at Bowdoin College, so she'll be playing with another Shakopee Valley girl, Laura Schultz, who's up there this year, and I know that York's star Andrea Little is giving a little bit of consideration to Bowdoin College. If she were to play soccer and basketball, that might be the place where we see her next year.
Not too far away from here in Brunswick. Sarbeck's free throw cuts this to 6. Cape has gone on a 6-point run to cut the lead in half. A minute remaining in the 3rd quarter. McDonald. Too far for Andrea Little. A nice save by D'Entremont and Martel.
Big play there by Katie D'Entremont and Jess Martel to keep that ball in York's possession. It's a key trip for York, really, to break the 6-0 run and to go to the break up 8 if they can hold Cape.
Little. Oh, big rebound, D'Entremont. Back again. Little is there, and she puts it in. Big series of offensive rebounds for York.
4th chance for York to score. 19 seconds left. They get it back up to 8.
That's twice in this quarter that's happened now for York, with 3 offensive rebounds in 1 series. Little knocking the ball away. 8 seconds remaining.
8 seconds left. You got to watch out for Cape's 3-point bombardiers here. Probably run Sarbeck up to the ball.
They do, and they can't get it to her. Sarbeck gets it. Roberts loses it out of bounds with 4 seconds left. So York with a couple of long passes here, make it a shot off.
And Cape Elizabeth not pressuring the inbounds pass. Now they will. It looked like they weren't going to come up on the ball. It's smart to come up on the ball.
And York will not get a shot off. Martel casually brought it up, and that ends the 3rd quarter. So York had a 5-point lead at the half, have increased it to an 8-point lead after 3. As we take a look at the Starkey Ford scoreboard, York 42 and Cape 34.
Banking at the ocean, banking at the ocean.
For more than 135 years, Ocean National Bank has been an independent community bank, committed to preserving the quality of life in York County. That's why money deposited in Ocean National is invested with local York County families and businesses. If you want to invest in your community, bank with Ocean National.
Banking at the ocean, banking at the ocean.
Sports Stop! Equipment that's designed for winning. Racquetball and soccer, kicking. You can score all this and more. Sports Stop!
It's the season for sports, and Sports Stop is ready. We carry a large selection of sports equipment and accessories, so you don't have to go from store to store to find what you're looking for.
Here at Sports Stop, we're king for sports. Sports Stop!
Tonight's game of the week is being brought to you by the York House of Pizza, Route 1A, across from the Village Fire Station. They've been serving the town of York for over 14 years. Come try their great pizza and delicious subs. And also by the Dairy Queen Brazier, 447 Elm Street in Biddeford, featuring the full meal deal. A sandwich, fry, drink, and sundae, all at one low price. And also by Indian of Maine Truck Caps. For the best prices and selection on Indian of Maine truck caps, go to the manufacturer. Visit the factory outlet, Route 1, south of Biddeford. And also by Jonathan's Restaurant. Jonathan's Restaurant is a new spot for your banquets, weddings, and receptions in Ogunquit.
You're watching TCI of Southern Maine Sports coverage of Game of the Week. Eric Nelson and John Martins. Start of the fourth, York leads by 8. Cape Elizabeth with the basketball. York with their starters in, John. Is this where we see that big surge with the pressure here in the fourth quarter?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Coach Clark has done a good job of getting Katie D'Entremont and Lindsay Playstead into the game, keeping some of the starters' legs a little bit fresh. I think that if York has to press, they have enough legs left to do it.
Fouls on number 12, Jessica Martell, personal foul number 3.
Martell's third, and Cape Elizabeth shooting in the bonus.
At the line, shooting 1-1. Chris
Amazing
Roberts.
thing, York has only taken 2 free throws. That was by Joanna Brown back in the first quarter. Big front end miss by Cape, but they get the offensive rebound. Sarbeck lost it in the paint. Up ahead to Andrea Little. She missed the layup. That is such a difficult play, John, if you've got the basketball in your hands, because you know it's going to get called against you, and she just couldn't keep her balance.
Again, York running the floor well in that last exchange.
Martell rips it away from Scott and gets fouled.
Good, tough rebound in there by Jess Martell. Molly McDonald with her first miss.
Fouls on number 23.
One of the things the coaches will tell you is that when you get to Augusta, you have to be able to run the half-court offense. You're not going to be able to run transition in the big games like this because the competition level is going to be that much better.
Shooting 1-1, Jessica Martell.
And Martell shooting 2, not 1-1 there, not in the bonus yet. That is just the 6th team foul, so the next one they will shoot in the bonus. Martell makes 1.
Well, York's half court in the first half did a great job of getting the ball to Joanna Brown, getting it to her on the block. She had 4 points in the last quarter, but only took 4 shots.
They have not put the point on the scoreboard up yet for York, but it should be 43-35. I wonder if they will notice that. Roberts off the bottom of the rim. Lead pass up to Little. They fix the scoreboard. Chapman the offensive rebound. Back to Brown from 14. She hits it.
Joanna Brown.
20 points for Joanna Brown tonight.
Big rebound there by Tiffany Chapman off the break. Again, York in the break. Very solid tonight.
Filling the lanes, and those trailers are playing well. 10-point York lead. They dump to Scott. Quick spin off the side of the rim. York limiting Cape to 1 shot here in the quarter. Brown, no shot. And that is a foul on Stevenson.
Foul on number 10, Pam Stevenson.
I thought it was going to be on Scott, and I thought she would be out of the game, but they call it on Stevenson. Cape Elizabeth coach calling for travel on that play for Joanna Brown. It was awfully close to that.
She is 1-1. She is the leading free throw shooter percentage-wise with Tiffany Chapman, both shooting 61%. And Joanna the leading field goal shooter at 58%, which is phenomenal.
If I'm a college coach, and I know there are a lot of college coaches scouting these games, I would leave this game very impressed with Joanna Brown. She's done a nice job defensively, and she's done a lot offensively. except there she let Stevenson go right by.
Stevenson in double figures with 10. And Joanna Brown, 22 points and 4 for 4 from the line tonight. 11-point York lead.
Brown just got shoved in the back by Scott up by the top of the key. I mean, really pushed hard.
And Little loses the basketball. Scott gets her own rebound back and throws it to Andrea Little. Martell off the front of the rim. Rebound to Roberts.
Cardinals in there by just Markell. Nobody underneath the basket for the rebound. That's not a good shot.
And a foul. With 5:39 left in the game.
I believe that'll be the fourth on Jess Martell.
Fouls on number 12, Jessica Martell, personal foul number 4.
And that is, she picks it up with 5:39 left. And York, I believe, calling a timeout. So we may see a little more Lindsay Playstead down the stretch here for York. And you see the York bench and Rick Clark talking to his team.
After that shove, I noticed that Joanna Brown kind of hobbled her way back down the floor, so we'll watch her, see if she's okay. She got a nice stiff arm in the lower back, which is common in post play, but you usually don't see it up at the foul line.
As we mentioned, the winner of this game will play Scarborough Wednesday afternoon at 3:45 in the semifinal round.
Got a chance to see a good portion of that game prior to this game, and Scarborough played down a notch to the way they're capable of and still handled Mountain Valley relatively easily. They've got some good athletes. The matchups will be tough for them, but they play good, solid man-to-man defense, and I believe they'll come into the game with a 15-4 record. Pretty solid record.
Yeah, the Katrina Olmsted played very well for Scarborough in that game. She's probably their best player.
She carried them in the third quarter, no question.
So teams have broken the huddle out of the timeout. And Pam Stevenson at the free throw line. She's got 10 tonight. She's the only Cape player in double figures. Big battle underneath. Kate Scott and Joanna Brown. Take a look at that matchup off the free throw. They're bumping and banging. One of two is made, and Andrea Little strips it away from Stevens. So they've credited Cape with an extra point. Scoreboard has been off a couple of times tonight, as it is a 10-point York lead. Brown. Scott with the rebound, and again the entry pass stolen by Little. Do you count it? Yeah, I think you do. They're going to count that one.
Big basket there by Andrea Little, obviously. And the foul. She can give York their biggest lead.
Fouls on number 21, Chris Roberts, personal foul number 2.
Second foul on Roberts. York in the bonus now with 5:12 left, and Andrea Little at the line. 3-point play. 15 for Andrea Little. That is her average. And she is just 17 points away from having another 300-point season for York. What a great move by Roberts. Count that basket. Nice individual move by the sophomore.
Chris Roberts.
So strong individual plays from one side of the court to the next here.
Foul number 3.
I am impressed with the fact that Cape has been down 10, been down 12, and they just haven't given up tonight. They've played really tough for a team that, as I said, got beaten by this team, what, by 30 plus the last time they met?
Lost by 33, John, 81-48 in York just 10 days ago, and Brown again knocked down by Scott. As it is physical. Chapman, who has yet to score in this game. Brown knifes her way in, grabs the rebound, and puts it back home.
Joanna Brown.
She has played one heck of a game, and one of the things that I have to comment on is Joanna's maturity. Last couple of years, that pushing and shoving might have gotten to her, but it hasn't affected her game tonight. She's played real strong.
We've seen her have 2 great games in the last couple of weeks that big performance against Kennebunk in their loss, John, where she had a bucket full of points in that game. Finished up with 28. Tonight she's got 24. Martell missed the layup. 4:15 left, 12-point York lead.
I think Joanna Brown sees a TCI truck pulling to the parking lot and she gets all revved up. I'm going to be on TV tonight. I better play well.
McDonald, offensive foul.
That is a horrible call. You have to give the player the opportunity to come down with the basketball. That is an atrocious call. Think I made myself clear?
Don't hold back, John. Tell me how you feel on that one, all right? That is the 4th foul on Molly McDonald. So York with 2 starters in the game playing with 4 fouls. And McDonald grabs the Sarbeck miss. Here's Martell with Brown.
Nice pass.
And I think Kate maybe wanted to travel, and they will get a foul instead.
Well, Brown got shoved again, and this time the perpetrator got caught, and I believe...
Number 30, Shauna Stevens, personal foul number 2.
Thought it might have been on Scott, but it's on Stevens.
Scott was shaken up, I think. She got hit up toward the nose and the upper lip, and she comes out of the game.
Krista Sarbeck has just not gone on track for Cape today.
And they're taking her right to the locker room. Kate Scott, I don't know if there was blood or not, John, but she was holding up near her nose. Joanna Brown at the line.
Joanna Brown.
Perfect from the line. Playstead comes in for Chapman.
Getting back to Sarbeck, Eric, unofficially by my stats, 1-for-9 in the game, and that's a telling sign. She has not had the stroke from 3-point range.
Makes 1 of 2. 25 tonight for Joanna Brown as York leads 53-40. Nice move by Sarbeck. Tough play. Scott misses on the follow. And Molly McDonald, who's done a nice job on the boards tonight, with yet another rebound.
She's really been the unsung hero in tonight's game. She's contributed on offense, done a nice job.
Brown. It's stripped and it'll go to Cape Elizabeth. Yeah, McDonald's played well. Was 4 for 5 from the field, I think, and has got, I'm going to say, half a dozen rebounds in this game.
Easily half a dozen. She's played a strong game. As you know, as far as the Cape player going off the court, Emily Scott this year, any type of blood, as in last year, you have to come out of the game. The blood has to be stopped and taken care of before you can come back in.
And it's Katie Scott, John, who is out. Emily Scott still on the court. I think they're twins. They look identical to each other.
They have been very physical with Joanna Brown tonight, no question about that.
Martell missing. Still York. Oh, Brown with the steal. All the way to the basket. Great play by Joanna Brown. She is having a great night.
The first thing the Cape coaching staff said is our goal is to stop Joanna Brown tonight. Guess not. She has had a great game.
27 for the senior, John. Scott, excellent bounce pass into Stevens for 2. 55-42 York. Martell gets it stripped from behind.
Got to keep your head up, and you got to try to give it up at that point if you can. Cape will try the 3.
Sarbeck from way outside. What a pretty looking shot.
Sarbeck, 3 points.
And it's a 10-point game. Rick Clark wants to call timeout. They don't see it. Brown up to McDonald. Knocked away. The Wildcats will keep it. Does Rick Clark still want his timeout? No, he doesn't. As Sharon Orchard sees her first action tonight, a 5'9" junior, number 00. Brown missing, gets it back, draws the foul.
I think it's safe to say that the thing that's turned this game in York's favor is that Cape Elizabeth just can't stop Joanna Brown.
Fouls on number 21.
She's too strong inside for them to contend with.
Third foul on Chris Roberts, and Cape calls timeout with 2:03 left. And it's Brown at the line and a 10-point lead. Time running out on Cape Elizabeth.
Obviously, though, but with Cape's ability to shoot three-pointers, they have at least 3 players in the book already with three-pointers that can shoot them. Pam Stevenson, Elizabeth Roberts, and Krista Sarback all have hit threes tonight, and they've been known to score in clumps. So York has to take care of the basketball, maybe run a little bit of clock. We see a trainer going across the floor. I hope he's not going to the York bench. Appears like he might be.
I thought for a moment that Tiffany Chapman, they were looking at Tiffany Chapman on the sideline. I don't know why. I don't think she got hurt in the game, John, as you see the medical unit.
Looks like she's holding her face.
Yeah, I don't know what that could have been, John. I hope she's okay. They're definitely going to need her for the rest of this tournament. Scott has come back to the sideline. She's had ice near her forehead since she came back.
No, this game hasn't been physical tonight, has it? No, not at all.
Line shooting 101, Joanna Brown.
Can't add too many adjectives to Joanna Brown's performance tonight. She's been outstanding. .28 for Brown. And Cape Elizabeth with the turnover, trying to press a little too much here to try to make up this lead. Remember, they came back against Kennebunk, put in a barrage of threes at the end of that game to beat the Rams early in the season. Place dead.
Well, Coach Clark said the key to this game was the play of his seniors, and they certainly have produced. Molly McDonald, Andrea Little, Joanna Brown, they've basically carried it.
Personal foul number 3.
Third foul on Sarbeck. The seniors have been the only ones that have scored for York tonight, John. 4 of the 5 seniors have done all of the scoring. Martell missing the front end. And York, I don't know if this concerns Rick Clark or not, but York's bench has not scored a point in this game.
Well, the good thing is he has been able to play quite a few people off the bench. Lindsay Playstead, Sharon Orchard, a couple of others, Katie John Tremont. It's been good that he's been able to get them in, Melissa Gagnon, and he got them in early, and that's got to help these kids in terms of their confidence.
He's played 10 of the 11 available players that he has. Cindy Herbine is the only player who has not played in this game. Everyone else has gotten in for a few minutes.
Trainer still working on Tiffany Chapman on the sideline. Certainly hope that she's okay.
Foul on Liz Roberts.
The good news about getting injured up in Augusta is there are plenty of support people up here at the tournament to take care of you.
Martell makes the shot. Front rim, the second one. Long up court pass. Roberts ahead of the pack for the layup.
Chris Roberts.
Roberts has 11. 10-point lead, 1:20 left. Cape has been pesky, hung around. Orchard missing. And it will be Cape ball, number 33 in the game, Kate Raymond, a senior, one of 6 on this team for Cape Elizabeth. The trainer is walking Chapman around. Looks like she's disoriented a little bit. And that is a concern.
Fouls on number 10, Lindsay Places, personal foul number 2.
Second foul on Playstead. We have no way of communicating with anyone down in the court, so we don't know what the problem is. We can just wish for the best. Sarbeck to shoot 2. Makes one. Rebound by Stevenson, and she's fouled by Orchard. So 1 minute remaining in the game. York, with a 10-point lead, will hold on for quarterfinal round win.
Cape may look back at this game and look at all the free throws they've missed. They've missed, unofficially by my count, 10 free throws.
That's 11 right there.
A couple of those front ends of 1-and-1 opportunities.
Nine-point lead, less than a minute left. Playstead loses the ball, and Andrea Little gets it back and is tripped by Sarbeck. Fourth foul on Sarbeck. That would have been a big turnover if Cape had run back down and gotten a basket, John. They're back within 7. But
Sure. With the fact that they can shoot the 3, you know, they could have got it within 6.
Andrea Little will shoot 1-and-1. Brown. Joanna Brown missing. And commits the foul.
Foul on number 32, Joanna Brown.
It's her third. And a free throw shooting contest the last minute of this game.
Shooting 1-1, Aaron Pond.
Aaron Pond shooting 1-and-1.
York better be careful with the basketball when they inbound, particularly if Pond hits both of her shots. Cape will have it back down to 7 with 44 seconds left. They'll go for the quick steal, maybe the foul. Big possession for York. This game is not locked yet.
Misses it, and they get it back. Back to Sarbeck. Back into Pond, and she draws the foul. Boy, Cape. Well, this is a resilient team, John.
Fouls on 00, Sharon Archer, personal foul number 2.
They have played York incredibly tough, and if York does get escape with this one, they will be that much better for having a tough game in the first round.
Again, Cape's inability, John, to hit free throws in this game has been big. They have missed 12 now in this game, or 13. Makes the second. 57-50. Here's the pressure. 40 seconds left. They get it to Martell, and she is quickly fouled by Elizabeth Roberts.
Smart move by Cape. Again, we know that they can shoot the 3. Basically, it's a 3-possession game now.
York just hasn't had that comfortable range or that comfortable factor.
I believe they were up 12 at one point.
Yeah. Big free throw by Martell.
Then again, Cape has never gotten it, I don't think, under 5. So closest that Cape was by my count is 5 points.
Not since early on. I think maybe in the first quarter it was to 4. That might have been the closest. Martell with 8 in the game is back to 9. Cape will be forced to shoot quickly. And the layup made by Roberts. That gives her 13, and Cape Elizabeth calls timeout, down by 6 with 30 seconds left.
You know, coach that I cover at another for my newspaper job told me to not underestimate Cape Elizabeth tonight, despite the fact that they got beat big time by York, that there are a couple key players out in that game, and certainly a good handicapping job by that coach. Cape has been very pesky tonight. If you look at 2 things for them, however, Sarbeck has had an off night for her in terms of shooting, not shot exceptionally well, and as you pointed to, Eric, 13 missed free throws. You put half of those free throws on the board, and Cape's got a 1-point lead right now with 30 seconds left.
They've taken 12 in the fourth quarter, John. They are 5 for 12 in the fourth quarter, and 12 for 25 in the game, I believe. Shoot a little better from the line, and this may have been a closer game. 30 seconds left, 59-52 York. Brown getting fouled by Stevenson.
As you had said a few seconds ago, Joanna Brown, York's best free throw shooter, so they got the ball to the girl they wanted to get it to.
The Scott sisters coming in for rebounding. 1-1 for Joanna Brown.
1-1, Joanna Brown.
Still, York's got to hit their free throws here down the stretch. Front end is good.
I would say that free throw more or less secures it for York. Makes it a 3-possession game again, even with the threes. And this one could give Joanna 30, right?
Yep. A 30-point effort tonight for Joanna Brown. We gave out Player of the Game honors during the playoffs. She'd get it. Sarbeck draws the foul on Orchard. And Orchard thought she had good position.
I did too.
Yeah. I didn't see her move, John. I don't know about you, but
Joanna will probably see you or I after the game and say, okay, where's my plaque?
The line shooting
Certainly deserves one the way she's played tonight.
Sarbeck keeping it close. 22 seconds left. This could cut the lead to 7. And it does. 61-54. Here's the pressure. Jump ball, and it goes to Cape. Cape, the team that wouldn't die. They're hanging tough. Get it underneath, and a foul.
Nice,
1 second elapses,
nice
puts it back at the line.
Exactly. Nice play for Cape for that reason alone. Only 1 second expires. They can cut it to 6 with 19 seconds left.
That's 4 fouls on Orchard, and McDonald coming back in.
You know, it's been a combination of both, Eric. Cape has refused to die, and York has refused to put them away. I'm sure that's something that Coach Clark will talk about after this game if they escape with the win.
And this is suddenly back to a 2-possession game. It's a 6-point lead with 1 more free throw coming from Shanna Stevens. Front rimmed it. McDonald the rebound, another jump ball, and it'll go to York. 61-55, 17 seconds left.
Cape gets to set up its defense now. Look for the long release to Joanna Brown.
Little. 5 seconds. She had called for timeout, but couldn't get it in time. Now Rick Clark will call timeout with 17 seconds left. Boy, York is not out of the woods here as they lead by 6, and Cape has the ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cape just wouldn't die. York had a 50-37 lead with 5:12 left. And Cape has gradually clawed their way back.
And Rick Clark said this. He said this Cape Elizabeth team is a team of runs, a team that can make a run at you. And really, it was a run that helped Cape Elizabeth win their prelim game against Lincoln, a 12-point run to start the second half that propelled them to that win.
I wonder, Eric, how distracting it might be for the York players to have Tiffany Chapman in such obvious pain and being attended to so obviously by doctors on the sideline. You see her there with her head down and getting rubbed on the back of her neck. So you wonder how much that might take the team out of it.
Get back to the play quickly. Long inbounds pass. Oh, Andrea Little, the quick hands, obviously trying to get Sarbeck in position for a 3-pointer. The thing here for Cape, they've got to shoot awfully quick. They wasted 3 seconds there.
And I don't know if they have any timeouts left.
I don't think they do, John. I think York has 2 left. They may be in trouble here. There's Sarbeck. Oh, boy, was that a close 3-pointer. Roberts underneath. Yes, 7 seconds left. They don't have the timeout. Time may run out on Cape Elizabeth. And it will. Boy, what a great effort by the Capers tonight. Number 8, Cape Elizabeth, giving number 1, York, a run for their money. But the Wildcats hold on in advance with a 61-57 win.
Unbelievable effort, really, by Cape Elizabeth. I think both teams can leave this game applauding. York, obviously, because they won the ball game. The Capers, I mean, a gritty, gutsy effort to not give up in this game. Down 13, as I said, with 5:12 left. A lot of players in foul trouble, and they come back and make York sweat quite a bit, actually.
This is one of the closer victories for York in the Western Maine tournament in the past few years. Let's take a look at the final scoring summary here from the Civic Center, as Cape Elizabeth was led by Chris Roberts with 15, Pam Stevenson with 12, Krista Sarbeck with 10, Katie Scott with 8. She got in foul trouble and was really neutralized, did not score in the fourth quarter of this game. Shanna Stevens with 5, Erin Pond with 4, and Emily Scott with 3. And Joanna Brown, the big night for York with 30 points. Andrea Little with 15, Jessica Martell with 8, Molly McDonald with 8. Those are the only people to score tonight for York, and we certainly hope that Tiffany Chapman is okay. She's walking off the court under her own power, but she is still obviously hurting a little bit. But for York, it'll be Scarborough on Wednesday, and they're going to have to play well, John.
Excuse me, Eric. Yeah, Scarborough is a very tough team, plays a lot of man-to-man defense. I think York is going to have to click offensively in their half court. Be interesting to see if Tiffany Chapman can come back to run the offense. If not, that falls to Jessica Martell or somebody else, and that was a problem, I think, last year in this tournament. They didn't get a lot of production from their point guard, so certainly hope for Tiffany's sake that she can come back, and for the team's sake, too.
Okay, that's going to wrap up our coverage here in this Western Maine quarterfinal from the Civic Center in Augusta. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us, and again, mentioning this is our final broadcast of the playoffs, the only one we're allowed to do. We will be bringing you tape delay coverage of the games from MPBN's perspective. We'll be broadcasting them at a later date. It's going to wrap it up from here. For Paul Mannion and John Martins, I am Eric Nelson. The final score on the Starkey Ford scoreboard in the quarterfinals: number 1 York defeats number 8 Cape Elizabeth 61-57. Good night, everyone.